Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you here today with an article from January 6th from Outkick. And it says old James Bond movies slapped with trigger warning because society is very dumb. And the headline intrigued me, so I kind of skimmed through this article before uh doing a video on it, but I was like, this is probably something I'm going to want to talk about anyway, because as the headline says, society is very dumb. Yeah, everything is stupid these days, so let's just go into it. Since the James Bond franchise is one of the entertainment industry's longest lasting and most valuable properties. The combination of the always enjoyable spy genre, globe-trotting male wish fulfillment, and style made them dominant box office performers and timeless properties. Well, they used to be timeless before puritanical progressives took over Hollywood. Because the British Film Institute, or BFI, is set to release a retrospective on composer John Barry, who was a frequent contributor to the James Bond franchise. BFI's series on Barry includes two films from the Bond franchise, which apparently to the and what the hell happened there? Oh, the B, I don't know, it's the save to collections. No, according to the BFI, I guess is what it's supposed to say behind there. This needs a trigger warning because of dated language and stereotypes, according to the Independent. Okay, I wonder if it says exactly what that is, because I think I've seen all the James Bond movies except for the most recent one. Um, and I mean, it's a long time ago that I watched a lot of them, so I don't remember off the top of my head. But I mean, the movies were rated what, PG? How bad could they be? And I know PG was back then something different than what we would think of PG today. There was no PG-13 rating for the first 20 years of the Bond film's existence. So a little bit different, but let's see if this goes into like specifically what it says. The warning says that the films contain language, images, or other content that reflect views prevalent in its time but will cause offense today as they did then. Okay, such as what? And I really want to know what. Okay, it says the BFI also goes out of its way to ensure that viewers know that they would never endorse the views shared in the Bond franchise. It says these titles are included here for historical, cultural, or aesthetic reasons, and these views are in no way endorsed by the BFI or its partners. The website reads, "God, it's just a movie. Jesus Christ, it's James Bond. Are people really going to a James Bond movie being like, I have to make sure this isn't going to offend my delicate sensibilities?" Like, everybody knows what they're getting in a James Bond movie. My God. Okay. Says, thank God they cleared that up. Scrolling down. And it says, two Sean Connery starring Bond films are included in the retrospective. Goldfinger, widely regarded as one of the best films in the James Bond franchise, and I would agree with that. And You Only Live Twice. In You Only Live Twice, Connery's Bond descent to Japan, which saddled that film with its own special warning about outdated racial stereotypes. Man, I barely remember that movie, so I'm not going to be able to talk about it off the cuff. It says, sure, some of the language and behavior in the old Bond films would have been seen differently than it is today, of course. So that's how time works. Old movies are a product of their time, just as the drivel of modern Hollywood currently puts out. Uh, Jesus, did I skip there? Yeah, kind of. Sorry about that. It says, old movies are a product of their time, just as the drivel modern Hollywood currently puts out is reflective of the incomprehensibly stupid time period we now live in. Right. It says if modern audiences are so sensitive and sheltered that they need trigger warnings for classic films, maybe they should avoid movies entirely and focus more on their bubble of progressive approved content created by political allies. Yeah, I mean, again, if you think something's going to offend you, just don't watch it. Like, why do there need to be trigger warnings on anything? It makes no sense. Again, society is stupid. It says noticeably, the same ideology that demands trigger warnings for classic films has no problem making, this word here. I'm not going to say for the YouTube censors. Basically, you know, adult themed books available to children in schools. These people would riot in the streets if trigger warnings were put up before movies that would offend conservatives or Christians. It says, but because the James Bond warnings are to the benefit of modern progressives, they applaud the BFI's virtue signaling efforts. Yeah, and that's all it is just a virtue signal. But again, you know what you're getting from a James Bond film. There shouldn't have to be a trigger warning in front of it. There shouldn't be a trigger warning in front of anything. I mean, if we're gonna watch 12 Years a Slave, are you gonna put a trigger warning in front of that? Because it's only a movie you need to see once. Okay, and I have seen it once and I never need to see it again. It was an excellent movie, but again, I don't ever need to see it again. It's like Schindler's List. Even though I have seen that multiple times, being Jewish and everything, it's kind of a thing for us. But it shows the worst of humanity. And it's like you don't need to put it in front of 12 Years a Slave, but if you can put it in front of James Bond, why wouldn't you put it in front of 12 Years a Slave? I mean, there's extreme violence in there and abuse, verbal and physical. I mean, I don't remember seeing there's a trigger warning in front of that movie. So it says BFI for its part issued a predictably weak statement defending its trigger warnings. It says whilst, so how British of them, whilst we have a responsibility to preserve films as close to their contemporaneous accuracy as possible. No, you just have a responsibility to preserve them. Period. Not as close to their accuracy as possible. Just we're done here. Just preserve them. Because even where they contain language or depiction which we'd categorically reject, we also have a responsibility in how we present them to our audiences, they wrote in a statement to the Independent. The trigger warnings, content warnings that we provide in all of our exhibition spaces and online platforms act as a guidance that a film or work reflects views of the time in which they were made and which may cause offense. Well, duh, we know this. Okay, we don't. If the movie was made in 1962, like the first James Bond movie, we know that it's probably going to have things from 1962 in it. How do you like? Is someone watching it in 2024 now, watching a movie from 1962, going, "Well, I hope they say things that are more relevant to my time as opposed to 62 years ago." Like, who's doing that? Like, you should just know that going in. If you're gonna watch a movie from the 1930s, you're gonna have to know that there's gonna be things from the language and values from the 1930s in that movie. Like, this isn't the hard thing to figure out, people. There doesn't need to be a warning in front of a movie because you have very delicate sensibilities. Last paragraph here. This is what causes the most offense is when embarrassing modern organizations and industries are this cowardly. Yes, this is cowardice. And the fact that they believe modern audiences are unable to use critical thinking, right, which is basically what I've been saying. I mean, this is just stupid. There should not be a trigger warning in front of any James Bond movie or anything like that at all. Okay, I don't, and, unless it's something that's just overtly like, unless it's, adult material, as the word was that I highlighted before down here. Let me see if yeah. If it's something like this, yes, there should be a trigger warning in front of it. Otherwise, no. Like, okay, if you're gonna watch Alien or Aliens, I mean, are you gonna say what? There's just excessive violence in the movie, or RoboCop? Go with that one. There's excessive violence in this movie? Okay, what if somebody says the N word in a movie? You're gonna be, but what if it's a black person saying it? Like if you're watching Boys in the Hood, you're gonna put a trigger warning in front of it because somebody uses the N word? I mean, like, where does this stop? Okay, basically, what the only movies that are gonna be like that you're not gonna see trigger warnings are gonna be rated G movies, and even some of them are probably gonna have them on there. I mean, you're gonna end up with this is just gonna get out of control really quick. That's how I can see it going. So I'm done rambling. Let me know what you think in the comments below about this. Do you agree with this, or just what do you think in general? Let me know. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.